Hello everyone, welcome to another episode of TCG Talk, back today with another video. In today's video, we're going to get into talking about how Katsu plays into some of the meta and some of the meta heroes that we're seeing right now. Before we get into the video, I normally don't do long intros or do anything like all that you see a lot of YouTubers do, which is totally fine. I just always try to get right to the point. I just want to say thank you to everyone. I am at 500 subscribers now, which just blows my mind. Like I don't even know honestly like how to react to it on screen or on camera. Like I wanted to make videos for fun, and I play the game a lot. I enjoy it. I care about it a lot, and I'm competitive, and I try to give like the best opinion I can on stuff. Like, and I always try to preface it when, maybe it's just a casual opinion, but I just want to say thank you. If whether you've watched 10 seconds or 10 minutes or 10 hours of my content, like thank you so much. Even for the people who are, give me some constructive criticism in the comments and pointing out mistakes and stuff like that. Like I welcome it. Like it makes me be a better player and hopefully a better content creator, y'all. So thank you so much. I just wanted to say that really quick, but we'll get right into the video. I'm always kind of quick with this kind of stuff. So for me, I wanted to talk about, how does Katsu play in a certain heroes, right? When I first thought of this idea, I thought about doing like, how does he play into like the whole meta? Like I would go over every single hero, right? And I decided against that because that would just take forever. It would just take so long. So I wanted to start here, right? And really start to talk about just how he plays into like some of the main characters that your heroes that you're gonna see at your ProQuest. A couple house rules for this, right? I want to make sure that people understand like this is just from my opinion and my experience playing each hero against each hero. I've put a couple hundred games close to it maybe into Katsu. I've played every hero that I'm going to talk against every hero that I'm going to talk about. But I will say this is predicated on the US meta, right? Like I am mainly East Coast, moving to Central here in a little bit. And so I'm going off of like what I've seen in my meta and then what I've played against in the Fab Discord, right? Like if you're in a different region, if you're in Europe, if you're over in Asia, you're over in APAC region, right? Asia Pacific region, like your meta might be different, right? So this is more of just US based meta, which is heavy with these, I think, 5 heroes I'm going to go over today. So we'll get right into it. Nothing crazy. Just, take my opinion with that in mind. So the first one we're going to talk about is Prism. I've heard various things on how Katsu plays in the Prism, right? So I'll give you my opinion, and then I'll give you the opinion of what I've heard other people who are experienced with Katsu and experienced in the game say. So my opinion against Prism is I'm favored pretty heavily, especially if it's Aura Prism. Aura Prism, I'm super confident going into the matchup. Obviously, any hero can win, which is why Flesh and Blood is so amazing. But Aura Prism, just because of the value that your attacks give, the pressure you can put on, the fact that she can't block with a lot of her cards, and the fact that you can deal 14 damage and then come in with a Gadachi right at the end to pop her aura anyway, it's just you're super heavily favored, right? Heralds give a little bit more trouble for Katsu because they're very value based. I mean, she can pitch 4 and usually deal around 14 damage along with putting stuff in, or 12 to 14, along with putting stuff into her soul, which then late game can kind of snowball. So it's a little bit harder for Herald Prism, but even then I still favor it because she has to block me at some point. And she's got a pitch to do that. And I have better on hit effects, in my opinion, than she does. She can make Spectral Shield, she can do all that, but it costs her a lot to do that. I have more card draw unless she hits like a crazy Tome of Divinity turn. So I'm super comfortable into that. As far as advice of playing against Prism, if you're playing against, no matter what, like no matter if you're playing against Herald or because most time you probably won't know, sub in your Flick Flacks, right? Or sub in your Sink Belows, whatever you have for your defense reaction in your sideboard. I recently switched from Flick Flacks to Sink Belows because I don't really want to block with a lot of cards from hand anyway, and I figured Sink Below would be more value. But sub in your 3 defense reaction. Make sure that when you sub in, the preface with all these sideboard guys is when you sub in a card that's not an attack, you have to sub out a card that's not an attack. And what I mean by that is like if you sub into Sink Below, do not sub out a Blackout Kick, right? Or if you sub in a Command and Conquer, do not sub out an Ancestral Empowerment, right? They have to match as far as attack or non-attack. So sub in your 3 defense reactions and take out one of each of your non-attack reactions. Honestly, I'd probably take out 1 Ancestral Empowerment, 1 Razor, and 1 even bigger than that. Against her, you might even take out two Razors and Ancestral to keep your even bigger than that for your turns that you really want to go wide. If you're playing against a Herald Prism and you figure it out, early in the game, just hold your mask, wait for Herald Erudition, and then use your mask to block Erudition and hurt their, because it's going to be coming in for 5 Dominate unless they have the aura that pumps it. Either if you can't destroy it with like a Command and Conquer or something like that, then block it out with your mask. I know it sucks, but if they hit it early game, like first turn or two, maybe even 30 turns, like maybe you don't pop mask, but if it's mid to late game, pop mask to block it out so they don't get that card draw. If it's Aura Prism, it is as simple as value blocking when you absolutely have to, right? Really with certain cards, but most of the time I just let them go and do whatever they want, and then I come back on my turn and hit them harder because they can't block a lot. Be very aggressive even though it's an Aura Prism, because there's a likelihood that 1 to 2 cards in their hand they can't block with and they don't want to block with, right? So make sure you keep that in mind as you're going through. If it's an Aura Prism, if you play your game, you're going to win. I believe that even at a high level. We'll see how it changes in the top tables. Maybe it's different, but at my level, in my experience, right, it's done that. If it's a Herald Prism, it's similar to like a Bolton or similar to like a Chane or something like that, where you just got to value block when you can, try to prevent severe on-hit effects. Use your mask to pop Erudition or block out Erudition, or try to pop it late in the game. Maybe even if you get a Command and Conquer like mid-game and you haven't seen an Erudition yet, just keep it in your hand, as shitty as that sound, crappy as that sounds, sorry for language. It just depends on how the game state is. But I feel really comfortable in the Prism. I'd say arbitrary number, I'm probably a 60 to 70% win rate on Prisms right now. Because right now, if they do go to the Herald Prism side, a lot of them are trying to use that Practical Replication card with Erudition, which is amazing. But it also sucks for them because that's another card they can't block unless they block something on the chain earlier, which means they're going to basically dump their whole hand. It's just not fun for them. So Prisms don't like the double block because they really can't. They have to single block cards and like take chip damage and then block out severe on hit effects. So just stay aggressive and watch out for the Erudition swing turn, if that makes sense. And also for any sideboard related stuff, I'll link my deck list below, and it has a sideboard guide in it, so you'll be able to go for that. For Oldhim, this is rough. So Oldhim is our counter, right? Whether it's a control Oldhim, aggressive Oldhim, doesn't matter. Like, you have to play a perfect game and get a little lucky to beat Oldhim. It's just how it is. If you're playing a good Oldhim who knows how to play the game, it's a very high uphill battle. I would say I have like a 30% win rate against Oldhims. You have to pitch stack. You have to play properly. Don't dump all your attacks at once. Watch out for the Oakenold turns. Really pay attention to how they're pitching. Wait for their off turns with their hammer. Like, you have to manage the game, because the game is going to go to late game. It's going to, unless you just draw absolute fire the first 2 turns. So the biggest thing is pitch stack, right? Instead of pitching a blue, pitch a yellow and a red. It sounds a little weird, but I would rather get an Oldhim down to like 30 life, 25 life, and then get to the late game and have all my reds or a decent amount of my reds to come in late when he's kind of ran out of some of his own stuff. Because they're going to try to do the same thing. They're going to try to pitch stack Oakenolds if it's not a good turn, and then come in later and just destroy you. As far as sideboard, sub out your even bigger than that. The card is useless against a good Oldhim, just absolutely useless. With Crown of Seeds and with Shield, they're just gonna block it out. Plain and simple. If they know you have even bigger in your hand, especially as this meta develops, people are gonna know Ninja uses that card. Just sub it out. Don't worry about it. Sub it out and put in your unmovables. And save your unmovables for Oakenold. Pick your spots, pitch stack, and wait till he loses gas. Again, you're not favored in this matchup, but you can definitely win it if you play it right. For the next one is Dash. Again, I'm going over kind of the meta heroes today. For Dash, I'm pretty comfortable in Dash, not quite as much as Prism, but Dash is all about value blocking when you absolutely have to, but really not. If they're just coming in for pistols, just take the damage, right? Even if they come in for 4 or 6, just take the damage. Doesn't matter. They're not going to have any crazy on-hit effects. They're not going to have anything nutty. If it's a kind of control mid-rangey Dash that just uses her pistol, just let her hit you. And then race her and try like heck to get her low before she gets her Purifier and second induction chamber into the field, because that's when it starts to suck. Once that happens, then you have to start value blocking and like trading damage. But before she gets her next item, hope to God she doesn't Spark a Genius turn 1 or 2, you should be fine. Now, if it's more of an aggro dash, that's similar to like a Chane or any aggro matchup where you gotta, you got to value block, try to get ahead before those high octane turns, really try to do as much as you can, right? Before she gets to that. For her, the good thing is we got a card, Smashing Good Time. I couldn't put it on, but Smashing Good Time card. I had some trouble doing the card overlays. I apologize. But Smashing Good Time reads, the next time an attack action card hits a hero this turn, you may destroy an item with cost 2 or less. So you can destroy their Purifier. You can destroy their Induction Chamber. You can even destroy other items they may have on the field. She has some really good tech against you too. She has Dissolution Spear, which basically every time she's dealt exactly 1 instance of damage, or she's going to be dealt 1 instance of damage, it prevents it. So it's basically like our Fine Center. And so it basically renders your Kodachis useless. They're going to sub those in against you. So be ready to like mix up your sequencing, because when they put that on the field, it lasts 2 turns and you basically can't Kodachi. You literally can't Kodachi. So it makes it really hard. The only time you can Kodachi is if you razor your Kodachi, but that's not good value for your razors. So sub in 2 Command and Conquers, take out a Soul Bead Strike and a Torrent Tempo. I run 3 each of those. Whatever your build is, take out 2 attack actions and sub in two Command and Conquers. I want to do 3. I only own 2, but even if I own 3, I probably only have 2 in this matchup. And then sub in your Smashing Good Times. I have 2 Smashing Good Times in my sideboard, not 3. I might end up going up to 3 at some point if Dash becomes super prevalent, but right now it's just 2. Take out 1 Ancestral Empowerment, 1 Razor, and then sub in those Smashing Good Times. The great thing about Smashing Good Time is it's +3 buff out of Arsenal, but the effect of destroying equipment lasts the whole turn. I just played a dash yesterday where I played Smashing Good Time out of Arsenal. I pitched a blue. I played Surging Strike for 8 or 7. Sorry, totally. No, 8. Yeah, 8. Gosh, 8. He blocked it out with a card and a defense react, but then I came in with a leg tap for 4. And at that point, like, he knows he's not going to be able to block everything out, so his item was gone. It's similar to a Plunder Run where that destroy mechanic lasts the whole turn. It's the first time an attack action card hits the turn, it destroys her equipment. And that's just a dash killer. But overall, you're favored in the matchup in both. It's a little bit harder when she's just trying to boost, but the thing is her boost is eventually going to miss, and that's where you take tempo. And then the mid-range dash, just mix up your attacks. As long as Dissolution Spear isn't on the field, mix up your Kodachis, get some ping damage, try to get some nasty on-hit effects. Because the thing that Dash is good at is she can value block, right? If Dash only has 2 cards in hand and she's a mid-rangey, like, control Dash, she'll block with 2 cards, 1 or 2 cards, and then just pitch a blue and shoot her pistols. So, like, she can value block really well. So just be careful. You got to manage the game state really well. Use even bigger than that too. And Dissolution Spear is on the field. It's a crazy game changer with her, because she's not going to block out your Kodachis with her equipment. Next one's Chane. Chane is a straight race. I don't really have any changes for Chane. You could sub in Command and Conquers if you want, just to kind of get rid of that arsenal from him. You could do that. If you feel like it, you can sub in 1 Null Rune at the glove spot. With Rosetta, it might be smart to sub in a Null Rune. I think I can race Chane, especially in the meta now without him having Plunder Run. It is a little difficult, but he doesn't really want to block early, so I feel like I can get ahead enough. That's just me being comfortable, though. If you want to do 2 Null Runes so you can block out Rosetta Thorn late, then you can. But personally, I would just run 1 Null Rune so you can get rid of some of the ping damage if you absolutely need to. Especially if he has a wide turn where he's dealing multiple instances of Rune Chance, you can pitch a blue if you have 2 blues in your hand and block out like 3 instances, right? Because he's most time not going to come in with more than 1 Null Rune or 1 Arcane if he's not Rosetting. So just keep that in mind. It is a hard matchup. It's basically a race. Whoever gets a 0 wins first. But if you lag at the late game, then he might can give you some trouble, if that makes sense. So that's Chane. And then we got Briar. Same thing. Briar's a straight race. Without her Earth tokens now, she's not as useful or as far as good as value blocking, but Channel Out Heroic Briar, which I literally played this week just to test it out, can still deal 12 to 15 damage a turn. It's just insane. Rosetta's insane with her build because she doesn't need it as much or doesn't need the Rune Chance as much like a Viscerai, so she'll Rosetta a lot. She's honestly looking for that non-attack, attack, Rosetta, or non-attack, attack would go again, non-attack, Rosetta. She has stuff like Revel and Runeblood if she really wants to get aggro, where her Rosetta Thorn's going to come in for 9 damage total. It's just ridiculous. But with all that said, she doesn't want to really block either, just like you don't. So try to get your on-hit effects. That's why I built the deck I built, because all of my cards have an on-hit effect, or they have go again or conditional go again for the most part. I don't run a lot of weird combo cards. I present a long chain with every single attack that I attack with, and doing that forces cards out of hand from them. So with her, just value block as much as you can. If you want to side in a couple sync blows, you can, but a lot of her attacks hit for the breakpoint anyway. If it's a channel mount hero buyer, you could sub in 3 sync blows. That's just a thought. It's not a requirement. It just kind of depends on what you want to do. I don't think I had a big Briar or Chane in my sideboard guide, mostly because most of the time I just race them anyway. I don't really have a sideboard for them, but you could think about the sync blows if you want. Then we have Bravo. I'm going to talk about both Bravos here. I have the regular picture of Bravo just because the star of the show picture is being weird for me. We'll talk about Starvo more. Bravo, like with the old school Bravo, if you face one, I don't think you will. Just race and then use your unmovables when he comes in with Crippling Crush, and like value block when you need to on his crush effects. And then after that, just try to win. It's not a favored matchup, but I'm pretty decent against old Bravo. New Bravo is hard. There's just not it's not as bad as Oldhim by any means, but the new Bravo, if he gets a pulse in hand and he just starts hitting his attacks early, the game's over. I'm sorry, the game's over. I had one game, I think I put on stream or on videos, where he hit like, I don't remember the exact attack order, but he hit like Rouse of the Ancients, Crippling Crush, Rouse of the Ancients, again, Spinal Crush, Thunderquake. Like, it was just like this, right? And a couple of them were dominated, severe on hit effects, right? Like, it's just nutty. However, with all that being said, he's going to have off turns. Definitely side up to 17 blues. Just hedge him in. You don't have to trade anything out, because I have 15 blues in my main. I side up to two blues in to go 17. Sub out your one razor. Sub out your even bigger than that. And sub out one ancestral, and then put in all 3 unmovables if you have them. I have 2 in my deck, but you could have 3 possibly if you wanted. The 17 blues helps you pay for them, and just unmovable his high attacks to have crush or something like that. Mainly you're focusing on like Oakenolds, Pulverize even, just to prevent damage, because Pulverize ability doesn't really affect you that much when you Kodachi first. Crippling Crush is a big one, unmovable. Or anything that makes you basically discard, that's what you want to use your unmovables on. It doesn't feel good to arsenal unmovable and just hold it there and wait, but it also feels really good when they come in with a Crippling Crush for 11, and you just unmovable it. You block 8 of it, take 3, and you don't discard anything, right? So that feels really good. Now, if they dominate it, +2 go again, you're already in a bad spot anyway. But the key with Bravo is to take tempo as fast as humanly possible, and then just try to keep that tempo and hope to God they don't hit an Awakening turn. It's definitely I'd say a 40-60 matchup right now. I would say Katsu gives Bravo a lot of trouble, because the new Bravo doesn't want to commit cards from hand. And so if you draw fire or you draw early good tempo, it's really hard for him. Awakening is like his only way of coming back, or like multiple crush effect discard attacks. But that's just how the game would go, honestly. I didn't put Viscera in here. I'll put him in next time. But I was, for this video, because I didn't want to go too long. It's already gone 18 minutes with just these heroes. Went over Prism, Oldhim, Dash, Chane, Briar, and Bravo. Viscera is not as prevalent in my meta, but I know he's still a tier 1 deck. We'll go over him next video. I'll put another video out from this, like, I'd say a day or 2 from now. That way you all can see the rest of the heroes, because I want to go over every hero, because some of you may be in different regions and you're playing against different heroes than like what is meta in the United States. But I hope you all enjoyed the video. Hopefully it made sense. Again, my deck list will be below in the description with a sideboard guide. I'll try to add Chane and Briar in there. I just didn't add them in because I don't really sideboard against them, to be honest. But yeah. Let me know what you think of the video. Hopefully you like it. Thank you again for the 500 subs. It's unbelievable. Leave a like, comment, subscribe if you want. If not me, go to another Flesh and Blood creator. Do the same thing for them so we can get more people seeing this game. And I'll see y'all next time on TCG Talk. Thank y'all so much.